My question is to the Treasurer. Will the Treasurer advise the House how the government's economic plan for jobs and growth will create new employment opportunities and help more young Australians to get into the workforce and stay there?
The Treasurer has the call.
Thank you, Mr Speaker, and I thank the member for Corangamite for her question. And I know her have a long-running interest and passion for supporting young people and getting them into jobs and dealing with the many youth issues in her community, of which she has a great passion. Mr Speaker, this government has a national economic plan for jobs and growth, an innovation and science program for start-up businesses, a defence plan for local high-tech manufacturing and technology, export trade deals to generate new business opportunities, tax cuts and incentives for small business and hard-working families, a sustainable budget with crackdowns on tax avoidance and loopholes, Mr Speaker, and of course guaranteed funding for health and education and roads that is paid for, Mr Speaker, paid for, not pretended with funding sources that aren't there, that only let people down, Mr Speaker. What we've done in this budget also, Mr Speaker, is ensured that we can put in place, as the Prime Minister was referring to, a new jobs plan for young people, Mr Speaker, called PATH. It's one that has been worked up on the basis of listening to young people and listening to business. Business want to give young people a go and get them into jobs, and young people want to get that go so they can stay in jobs. But, Mr Speaker, we've got to get past to just keep them busy training programs, Mr Speaker, which don't get the job done. Now, I'm disappointed, Mr Speaker, that this very important program, where we've stopped funding elements of programs which we just don't think are getting the results, to put them into a program where we believe we will get the results. And I'm very disappointed that the union movement, Mr Speaker, has come out in opposition to this plan. They've come out in opposition to this plan, Mr Speaker. This is a program that will first invest in getting young people to the starting line of a job by getting them job ready, by teaching them the expectations that they will have to meet to go and get a job. Secondly, it puts an internship in place, Mr Speaker, real work for the dole, which means that when they're getting those support payments, they're in a real business doing real work and getting the real skills they need to be able to keep that job, Mr Speaker. And thirdly, it gives a wage subsidy to create a program at the end where, Mr Speaker, they can be in a real job, where they continue to get their income support payment and the employer tops it up so they'll be paid a proper wage when they're doing the real work. Now, at the end of that period, Mr Speaker, at the end of that period, it's up to that business then and that young person to take the next step. But what we've done is we've de-risked and de-costed, Mr Speaker, the opportunity for business to take people on. We've removed that risk, Mr Speaker. Now, the members opposite heckle and speak against this plan, Mr Speaker. I remind them that when they were in government, 12% of children aged under the 15 were growing up in jobless families. This program does something about that, Mr Speaker. They should support it, not their union mates.